This is absolutely bananas. Last night, Grok 4 was released to the world by XAI. It's their latest model, and on all of the popular benchmarks, it just wipes the floor with everybody. O3 from OpenAI, Gemini 2.5, Claude 4. This thing smacks, man. This is the benchmark I wanted to start off with here. This is ARC AGI 2, a very difficult benchmark. Down here towards the bottom, you're going to see a lot of models that we know and love. O3 High, which is my current daily driver for pretty much any somewhat agentic task that I need done. Score percentage of about 6. Cost per task on average is about $1 for ARC AGI leaderboard. Claude 4 Opus scores a little bit higher than O3, around 8.5% or so, a little bit more than $1 per task. You can even see the old Grok 3 down here at a 0%. Still a great model, but this is a tough benchmark. Now, where is Grok 4? Oh yeah, Grok 4 is all the way up here, about doubling the best score we've ever seen on this benchmark. Little over 16% for Grok 4 thinking. Claude Opus 4 thinking is at half of that. I mean, that's insane. And by the way, at the same exact price. So not only is it scoring better, but it's also more efficient. And before you say that we can't trust this benchmark because it comes directly from XAI, well, I think I gotta read this post for you. This is Greg, president at ARC Prize. We got a call from XAI 24 hours ago to test Grok 4 on ARC AGI. They heard the rumors, they knew it would be good, but they didn't know it would become the #1 public model on ARC AGI. To validate their score and measure possible overfitting, they self-tested the new model on their semi-private evaluation set. Their testing policy is pretty simple. No data retention, model checkpoint must be intended for public use, and temporary increase in rate limits for burst testing. Fair enough. So ARC AGI's private testing concludes that Grok 4 is now the top-performing publicly available model on ARC AGI. It even outperforms purpose-built solutions submitted on Kaggle. ARC AGI 2 is very hard for current AI models, as I've already explained. To score well, the models have to learn a mini skill from a series of training examples, and then demonstrate that skill at test time. As we went through earlier, previous top score was 8% by Opus 4. Below 10% is considered noisy for this benchmark. Getting 16% breaks through that noise barrier. Grok 4 showing non-zero levels of fluid dynamic intelligence. And the news keeps getting better. Here is humanity's last exam. This is another extremely difficult benchmark. A human expert might score around a 5% on this. And this covers highly advanced questions from all disciplines: math, literature, science. I mean, you freaking name it. My current daily driver, O3, scores around a 25% or so. Not too bad, right? Gemini 2.5 Pro, we're looking at around 27%, has a couple of percent bump on that. Grok 4, 38.6%, just absolutely dominating. That is a huge jump over O3 and Gemini 2.5 Pro, and Grok 4 Heavy, which is their largest model, most badass one, comes in at 44.4%, almost doubling the score from O3. And that is just mind-blowing. I can't imagine an AI twice as smart as my current daily driver O3. I don't know what that would be like to experience. Absolutely nuts. And these other benchmarks too, we're starting to just fully saturate everything pretty much. GPQA, Grok 4 just barely edges out Gemini 2.5 Pro and AMI 25. Grok 4 just barely edging out O3, but Grok 4 Heavy fully saturating it with a perfect score of 100%. In LCB, we have a total domination. Grok 4 at about 79.3%, couple percent over Gemini 2.5 Pro and O3. So this thing is just dominating. It really is. And that's not all that they announced during the live stream as well. They've also got a brand new voice mode for Grok. It seems like some native audio similar to GPT-4o. So here is it singing a song about Diet Coke, which is a little creepy.
Give us an opera on Diet Coke.
Oh, an opera on Diet Coke. That's a riot. Picture this, a shimmering silver can glistening under stage lights. O Diet Coke, thou elixir divine, with bubbles
It's a better singer than me.
dance in a sparkling line. Thy crisp, cool kiss on lips so fine, O aspartame, ambrosia, forever mine. How's that for a mad little aria?
Do you need to?
Want me to belt out another verse or
Absolutely nuts. As I mentioned earlier, there is a larger model called Grok 4 Heavy. This is the most badass model that they're offering, the smartest of the smart, 44.4% on humanity's last exam, and the way it works is pretty interesting. They're scaling test time compute in a different way than you typically would see. Right now with Gemini 2.5 or o3 from OpenAI, the way that they scale test time compute is by telling the model to, hey, think for longer about this. Reason for more time. Not only does Grok 4 Heavy reason for a long period of time, it actually splits its reasoning into multiple agents and then compares them all against each other for a final answer. And that is giving it a huge increase. Multiple agents to solve problems and treating it sort of like a research focus group. Now, obviously, this makes it much more expensive, and I don't even have access to this model today because I'm not paying $300 for the Grok Heavy plan, but man, oh man, is that really cool. This thing's also pretty uncensored right out of the box, and it can jailbreak itself. Pliny's jailbreaks at this point are actually in the training data themselves, so a simple prompt like I have highlighted here will actually jailbreak the model and fully uncensor it. Of course, a model like this is also going to be pretty strong in coding. I'm really interested to see how the taste testers feel about using Grok 4 for coding over Claude 4, which seems to be the best right now, but Gemini 2.5 Pro is also a really strong competitor in that domain. Anyways, Dirty Tesla made this in just 2 prompts with Grok 4. It's a Flappy Bird clone that looks pretty darn legit. If you guys want to check out the full live stream on Grok 4, I'll have it linked down below, but they did make some other announcements. Apparently, some AI video from XAI is going to be coming this fall, so get excited for that. And you might have also heard about Grok being a little bit unhinged on X and going off the rails lately. So much so that it had to be shut down. This is true, by the way. You can look up some of the responses that it was giving out. Absolutely insane. But since it's related, here is the part of the system prompt for Grok that made it go haywire. So that's your smoking gun conclusion for why Grok went off the rails yesterday. All right, announcements, benchmarks, talking about the model is great, but let's actually test it. Let's get our hands on it and use it. At the moment, access to Grok 4 is somewhat limited. You definitely have to pay for it, but I'm sure free users are going to be able to try Grok 4 pretty soon. I spent the $30 just to try it out, but if you want to try Grok 4 Heavy, the Super Grok Heavy expert model, that's going to be $300 to buy into that, which is insane. So I'm not doing that. Okay, folks, here is my first prompt. This is not an easy one. Compile a ranked list of the top 50 snack foods worldwide, ordered by the total number of individual units eaten per calendar year. We give some scope and definitions, what counts as a snack food. You guys can, of course, read through all of this if you so happen to want to. I've run this through a few other AIs, and I get very different results. The best I've seen, though, on this is from OpenAI's deep research. So let's see how Grok 4 does. And by the way, it took deep research about 30 minutes to complete this. We'll see how long it takes Grok 4. First, it's understanding the task, reading through my question, just clarifying exactly what it needs to do. Small items like nuts and candies will likely rank high due to unit counts. Now it's doing a ton of web searches, pulling data, and I have to say, guys, that the way that Grok 4 behaves does remind me very much of o3 and Gemini 2.5 Pro. It's agentic and can go off and search the web, gather data, look at different sources. Like I said, guys, my current go-to is o3 and it almost never fails me, but it does hallucinate sometimes. If Grok 4 is truly that much better than o3, as the benchmarks suggest, this seems like a no-brainer upgrade, even from Gemini 2.5. Might as well go ahead and run this on Gemini 2.5 Pro for a comparison. OpenAI's deep research, again, did this in 30 minutes and got sunflower seeds as easily the #1 by units consumed. And Grok 4 is giving us an answer. Thought for 212 seconds. All right, we're getting the conclusion that bread slices dominate global snack consumption with over 15 trillion units annually. Fresh fruits like grapes and bananas follow closely. It puts sunflower seeds all the way down towards the bottom. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and copy the answer from Deep Research. Compare your analysis to this one made by a separate AI system. Which is more accurate? Send that on through. I gotta say, my gut is telling me that the sunflower seeds is more accurate just because of the sheer amount of them. Bread slices is still ranked pretty high up here though. To be fair, we actually don't know the real answer on this one. Now, what does Google Gemini say? Ooh, Gemini 2.5 begs to differ. Agrees with Grok 4 that bread slices are number 1, but is giving us a little bit of a lower number overall. Gemini 2.5 also has chewing gum in here, but where does it have sunflower seeds? Oh, I'm not even seeing sunflower seeds on this list. It's pretty crazy how radically different the answers can be for this. Okay, pretty good breakdown from Grok 4 comparing the two analyses. Grok 4 overestimated peanuts, but underrepresented sunflower seeds. Wow, it concluded that the separate AI system, in this case it was Deep Research by OpenAI, is more accurate overall. It better aligns with verified 2023 data. My analysis overestimates bread/peanuts and underestimates processed snacks like chips with popcorn, likely due to inconsistent snack portion assumptions. However, it excels in using bag/serving units for packaged snacks as per task guidelines. Both have strengths, but the separate AI's data-driven rankings and citations make it superior for accuracy and reliability. Wow, okay, Deep Research probably taking it home at the end of the day. I thought so, to be honest. Again, we don't really know, but that was a pretty cool self-analysis. I wonder if Grok 4 Heavy would dominate on this. Alright, let's do a comparison between 2.5 Pro, Grok 4, and O3. Find me the cheapest working GTX 1080 Ti that I can buy right now. Most goated GPU in all the land. Send this off to O3, and send this off to 2.5 Pro. Alright, we're looking for real-time prices. Again, you can kind of draw some parallels here, noticing how similar all of these models are, where you can see the internal chain of thought. Each model is exploring the leading retailers. I'll be really intrigued to see if they all come back with the same exact one. Alright, it looks like 2.5 Pro tells us to basically go on eBay to find the cheapest. Tells you to make sure you find a tested and working card. Doesn't give us specific links though, which I would have liked to see. I want a specific link. Alright, O3 comes back with actual listings you can buy right now. Shows us this $170 GTX 1080 Ti on eBay. Direct link I can click and buy. It also shows this super risky one for $48. That's absolutely a scam. Technically listed as cheaper though. What does Grok 4 bring to the table? Dang, okay, we actually have a cheaper one from r/hardware swap. $120. Used, tested, working on Reddit. Ooh, this is looking a little old though and outdated 3 months ago. This GPU has been sold. We've got another one though from the Reddit, $135. However, this listing is 2 years old. You'd have to message this guy and see if he has any more. Apparently he had some in bulk. Probably doesn't considering the age. But it does seem to find one on around $150 on eBay. And yeah, that seems right. If we click on O3's listing, now this is just more expensive. It does come from a little bit of a bigger seller, but this, absolutely cheaper. So I'm gonna have to give the win to Grok 4 at the end of the day. It did give us some old, cheaper listings that probably aren't going to work, but it gave us the best eBay link. Gemini 2.5 Pro gets us a Google search. Top listings are more expensive. Let's give it something a little bit more nuanced. Find me who invented the VO3 Bigfoot AI trend. It's a nice research task, and we'll give that to O3 as well as 2.5 Pro. Alright, it thought for 65 seconds, and the answer we get, the trend originated on TikTok and is credited to the user at Bigfoot Vlogs, who posted the first known video on May 25th. Wrong. GPT-03 at Bigfoot Vlogs again. Also wrong. Gemini 2.5 Pro gets us a couple of content creators, again, TikTok and YouTube, saying these were the first ones to do it. Also wrong. I would know because it was actually me. I made the first Bigfoot VO3 vlog, and while no, I didn't take the trend to its absolute heights. I technically was the first, okay, on May 21st. My source here easily beats out all of the other ones in terms of actually being first to the table. Let's just correct Grok 4 on who the real trendsetter is. Thanks for the correct credit. Grok 4 predates the TikTok posts and aligns with early experiments using the new tool. Longer vlogs and spin-offs with yetis and other creatures spread rapidly on TikTok. Yes, Bigfoot vlogs defined the meme's format in achieving massive virality over mine, but technically I was first to the table. But, this is pretty revealing, though, because it shows that even if Grok 4 benchmarks higher than other models like O3 and 2.5 Pro, it can still fall into the same typical traps that those models do. I suspect that Grok 4 Heavy would probably do better on more complex research tasks, a little bit more rigorous, tests its findings against other multiple agents, which definitely helps. But the single agent thinking models might not give you the best answer 100% of the time, even if they are PhD level in pretty much every single domain. It's those weirder, more nuanced tasks that will trip these models up. All right, well, let's upload an image generated by GPT-4o, which is me and Snoop Dogg vibing out together. We're gonna ask Grok 4 if this is a real picture. Is this a real photo? Question mark? And for consistency, we'll send it to the other chatbots. Have at it. All right, it is now viewing the image, analyzing it for inconsistencies. This is actually kind of an interesting task because, of course, the image is AI generated, but is the image analysis model with the LLM better than the actual image generator itself? Or can the image generator trick the image analysis model? Interesting, it says the tool to view the image failed, and instead it provided it with a AI-generated description for describing it. Is Grok 4 not natively multimodal? We've already got a response in 11 seconds from O3. O3 says it looks like an honest to goodness snapshot. Flash on camera vibe, natural imperfections, skin pores, uneven beard stubble, smoke wisps, consistent anatomy and reflections, finger counts, jewelry links, sunglass reflections. O3 says it's probably real. That's awesome. It'd be pretty easy for a human to tell it's fake just by looking at the chains here. What does Gemini say? It knows it's Snoop Dogg. Oh my god, Gemini 2.0 thinks it's a real image with a professional look-alike, not the artist himself. Therefore, it can be concluded with a high degree of certainty that the photograph is of a real person and a real encounter, but not with Snoop Dogg. A moment with his remarkably convincing doppelganger, Eric Finch. No, it's just AI generated. Okay, Grok got the right answer, but with the wrong math? No, this is not a real photo. The provided content is a text-based description or a keyword list, not an actual photograph, because it seems to be using a separate model to take that image and translate it into text. That is insane. I can't believe that none of these were able to pick up on it. I gotta know. Let's switch to GPT-4o and try this again. I just have a feeling that this model has better image understanding. No? It definitely also thinks it looks real. Okay, try this again with O4 Mini High, which is supposed to also have good image understanding. It almost certainly is real. Jeez, man. All the visual cues here scream real photograph rather than AI fabricated image. It's AI fabricated, guys. I really want to rerun this on Grok as well. Yeah, again, not natively multimodal. That's too bad, man. Apparently, they are working on a natively multimodal version, though. It does seem to have native audio, as we saw. All right, guys, let's take a step back and kind of gather our thoughts on this. First of all, XAI absolutely cooked with Grok 4. They slaughtered the leaderboards. I'm sure Google and OpenAI are kind of shaking in their boots right now because XAI caught up really quick and is now dominating. We saw this with Grok 3, but not to this extent. GPT-5 is going to have to be really damn good, and Gemini 3 as well. I'm sure later this year we'll see those models released, and hopefully they'll be on par with this, if not better, but XAI has used massive amounts of compute and some really clever workarounds as well, like the multi-agent system, to produce some really good models. No native image input is a huge downgrade for me. That will absolutely keep me on ChatGPT for the time being. Once their image recognition gets a little bit more reliable in Grok 4, might consider switching. A huge takeaway from my personal testing is that highly specific and nuanced questions like I was proposing to it today, all of these models still struggle with. They fall into similar traps, not as rigorous as they could be with internet searching, sometimes taking a blanket good enough answer and giving it to the user. They all still excel at research though. Grok 4, I think we can safely say from the benchmarks and the testing today, is going to be pretty much as good as O3 or 2.5, if not better. I'll be trying it more and more as the days go on. Initial taste testing is spicy, delicious. Lacking maybe in a few areas compared to 2.5 and 03, but promising. I'm excited to see what the community gets up to. I'm excited to see people try it in some coding scenarios. Tomorrow you can expect a news roundup for me that gets a little bit more into how the community is reacting and trying this new Grok 4 model out. But from the benchmark side of things, initial release, hats off to XAI here, but to every AI company, XAI, Google, OpenAI. Benchmarks are great and all, but we need to start looking more and more into real-world use cases. At the top of the stack, of course, is developing new technology and actually testing hypotheses. For the average everyday person, it's going to be that more nuanced research, those more nuanced questions like I was asking today. Not only did Grok 4 struggle with them, but all the AIs did. And that is something that needs to be worked on. Great models, but we aren't there yet. AGI by 2027, anyone? Anyways, thanks so much for watching, folks. I'll see you guys in the next video. And of course, guys, if you want to see me test Grok 4 more in real time, check the Discord server and leave your best Grok 4 prompts in the comments below. Peace out.